الرحيم الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.
In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, the Lord of the worlds, we thank Him, we adore Him, we glorify His holy name, for His mercy and blessing on us, for His mercy and blessing on Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. May His peace and blessing continue to be upon His household, His companions, and all the Muslims to the day of Qiyamah. Inshallah, our class continues today. We are still with the book Kitabu Tawheed by Sheikh Al-Fawzan, and in the last chapter. Today we'll be looking at the last section, the last chapter, and that is where Sheikh is talking about في بيان نماذج من البدع المعاصرة. So the examples among the modern bid'ah or modern innovations. So here Sheikh want to give us example or specimen among the bid'ah that people of our age, people of this generation, that we fall into. So the first example that is mentioned by Sheikh here says, Al-Ihtifal bi Mawlid Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam. So this is one of the bid'ah of this our age, our generation, and it's a widespread, and it's a bid'ah that many scholars also fall into it. And sometimes people actually try to get evidence to support this bid'ah or this innovation in order to prove that it is what? It is sunnah. But it can never actually be sunnah, because like we mentioned in our previous talk, that sunnah is something that is strictly according to the guidance of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu as related to us by his Sahaba. Allah mentioned in Surah Al-Baqarah, Allah says, وَكَذَلِكَ جَعَلْنَاكُمْ أُمَّةً وَسَطًا لِتَكُونُوا شُهَدَاءَ عَلَى النَّاسِ وَيَكُونَ الرَّسُولُ عَلَيْكُمْ. So this one is telling us that the Prophet was an example, was a model for the Sahaba, and the Sahaba, they were model for us. So if Sahaba are model for us, according to this verse, how can it make a sense, or how can it be logical to say none of the three best generation according to the hadith of Prophet, like he said, خير القرون قرني إن العزيز خير الناس قرني ثم الذين يلونهم ثم الذين يلونهم. So he said that these are the best three generations: the generation of the Prophet, the Sahaba, and the student of the Sahaba at Tabi'un. So how can it be possible of making sense that they did not practice this thing we are talking about, and people will come after them and will still attempt to call this the Sunnah, when Allah said the Sahaba are supposed to be model example for us? Why Prophet is supposed to be a what? A model for the Sahaba. So now, if Prophet was a model for the Sahaba, which means the Sahaba did not see Prophet doing it, and the Sahaba, they are supposed to be model for us. We did not have any record, any historical record, any record in the hadith of Quran that they have ever done it. So if that is the case, how are we going to prove the fact that it is Sunnah? That is just from the mere fact that people are doing it or people are celebrating it. So we actually talk about Mawlid in Nabi because it is more and it receives more importance and emphasis. But birthday generally is bid'ah. So you see today it has become a norm that every time everybody celebrates their birthday. And they even take it more serious than any other celebration you can imagine. The manner and the way some people celebrate their birthday, they don't even celebrate the two end that manner. So celebration of birthday itself, not even talking about the birthday of Prophet, is bid'ah. It does not have any record whatsoever historically in Islam. And if you look at where it started, it actually started in the Roman Empire. It was the practice of even the Roman Empire that started it. It was their gods, their idols that they worshipped then, that they used to celebrate their what? Their birthday. And that is, you see, when later Christianity was given back to, that is almost 3 centuries after after Allah raised Prophet Isa up. That was when they gave back to Christianity. You see, most of the things they did is actually the practice of the what do you call it? The Roman Empire. It was the practice of the Roman Empire.
And that is why even the celebration of birthday of Prophet Isa on the 25th cannot have any evidence, even from the Bible. Even from the pages of history, you cannot have evidence for it. But there are evidence that some of the gods of the Roman Empire are being celebrated on that particular date. Even if you look at it logically, to prove that Prophet Isa was born on that day is not possible. Prophet Isa could not have been possibly born on that day, that is 25th of December. And even among the Christendom, there is there are difference of opinion and view. Some say it is on the 25th, some say it is a late after, some say it is March, and so on and so forth. So this kind of thing, when you have different view or it does not have evidence in the book we call Book of Our Religion, it means it is an innovation. It means it comes from somewhere else different from what? From Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If this is the case, how will it now make sense to us that we celebrate it? So if you tell somebody today that celebration of birthday is not good, they will look at you as if you don't even understand what is going on in time. They look at you as if you are not exposed, as if you are not informed, as if you are backward. This is the way people take birthday. Or some people even take it as if it is something that is most matters to them. And when you ask them, sometimes they argue that it's a way of thanking Allah. You cannot thank Allah in a way Allah has not prescribed, like we mentioned yesterday. If you want to thank Allah, you just have to follow the path of Prophet. Nobody can thank Allah better than who? Prophet. And nobody can worship Allah better than who? Prophet. So if you actually want to thank Allah, you have to follow the what? Some people also argue that Prophet used to fast on Monday and Thursday. When he was asked, he said because he was born on Monday. Okay, let's assume that is true and it's an Azeez. Why can't you also take that day as a day of fasting? After fasting, did Prophet did any other thing on that day? So did he celebrate? Did he gather? Did he throw any events? Did he invite Sahaba to come and eat because of that day? And mind you, the day of birth of Prophet Salah was a very great day. It was a great day. A day that Allah gave birth to somebody that will what? That will deliver mankind from the bondage of ignorance. Bondage of what? Of darkness. The day Allah gave, the day such a person is given birth to is a great day. But the greatness of day can never be a Eid or a day of celebration except with instruction from Allah or from the messenger himself. So the meaning is that we cannot use our intellects or we cannot use our view and our perspective or our own personal judgment to either classify something as to whether it's supposed to be done or not to be done. So we actually need direct instruction from where? From Allah and His Messenger. So this is to say that celebration of birthday is Bidiah. And when they say something is Bidiah, it means you are actually trying to rewrite the law of Allah. And that is what differentiates Ma'asiyah from Bidiah. Sin and innovation. This is what differentiates them. You say a sinner, as long as he does not say what he's doing is correct, as long as it doesn't have that kind of view. You know, somebody may be committing sin, but he also believes and assumes that what he's doing is right. So his own case is simple. He's actually violating the law. He's not attempting to rewrite the law. He's not attempting to condemn the law or to bring new law. Is that not so? But for innovator, for somebody who is committing bidiah, whether you understand it that way or not, whether that is your intention or not, what you are trying to do is that you are trying to rewrite the law of Allah. You are either saying the law is not complete, or the law is deficient, or we have to add this, or we have to remove this, or we have to subtract this. Allah says, Al-Yawma akmaltu lakum wa atmamtu alaykum wa raditu lakum al-Islam. So Allah says Islam is complete. If it is this Islam that is the religion of Allah, inna dina inda Allahi wa man yabtaghi ghayra al-Islam dina. So if it is this same Islam that Allah says from Him is the one that is recognized, that you are practicing, then you actually have to understand that it is complete. You cannot add or remove from it. Anything you want to do must have back, it must have a reference, evidence from Quran or Hadith. If it does not have it, means it is Bidiah. And if it is Bidiah, for a good and righteous servant of Allah, is to leave it, to forgo, to allow it to go. So because what matters most and what is supposed to matter most to us is how can we get reward in what we are doing. Today, we are less concerned about getting reward. We are more concerned about our people's perspective from what we do. or how people see us. Do people see us as being relevant or important? Forget about what people say about you. What should matter most to you is, who are you in the sight of Allah? Some of the scholars, they say, there are many people that walk on this earth surface that nobody knows them. Nobody reckons with them. But all the angels of Allah, all of them without exception, they know him, they mention his name, they are praying for him. For you to be famous or popular among the servants, among mankind, and to be popular and famous among the what? The angels. Which one is more important? Which one makes more sense? And there are some people that everybody on the earth surface know him. They see him as what? VIP. But he is not recognized by the angel. Look at Fir'aun when he was alive. He controls empire. He controls resources. He controls subjects. Many things were under his control. But how does the angel see him? Jibril, the day of his destruction, Jibril said he hated him. He said he hates Fir'aun. He said since the day he said, Anna Rabbukum al-A'la, since that day he hated him. And look at the example of UDUS. So he was loved, and the angel did pray on his behalf when he found himself in what he found himself. So what we are saying is that you shouldn't disturb yourself about people's view and perspective. Wallahi, this is one of the problems most of us have. That is why we tend to fall into error. We want people to see us as being nice, or being kind, or as being a righteous person. You don't need anybody to see you. Me, what concerns you most should be what? What is my position before Allah? Am I right? Just about, people's judgment or perspective cannot judge you or cannot place you in the right position. And forget about what is going to happen to you or what will not happen to you. It is Allah that decides. Decision is Allah. So if Allah wants something to happen, even all this, everybody in the world, they say it will not happen, Allah, it will surely happen. If Allah says something is not going to happen, and everybody make attempt or effort to make sure that it happens, so Allah, it will not happen. Allah says anybody that wants izzah, that wants honor, that wants prestige, everything izzah, everything honor, respect, a favor, they all belongs to Allah. If it belongs to Allah, if it's the property of Allah, who gives it? Then it means you have to look for it from Allah, not from human being. So, and you even want to look for it from human being, you are using a way or a path that Allah has prohibited by violating the law of Allah. Allah, this is one of the reasons why many people fail or commit bidiah or fall into errors, because they want people to assume or to have good opinion about them. Of course, somebody can make a mistake in that regard, because we always want people to say good things about us. But if you wait till that time, you'll be making error. But you should just try your best to do the best thing in your own capacity. That's what matters most to you. Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu, when the incident of Zayd bin Arif, when it happened, and he was to divorce his wife, Prophet has been informed that he was going to marry who? The Prophet did not like it. Why didn't the Prophet like it? Because of people's opinion. Because of the opinion of the general public. What did Allah say? Istaqulu lilladhi an'ama Allahu alayhi wa an'amta alayhi amsik alayka wa takhsha an-nasa wallahu. Allah said, وَتُخْفِي فِي نَفْسِكَ مَا اللَّهُ. So you don't fear people's opinion. Allah is correcting his prophet here. That was a mistake. So for us, it's also an information. It's also a sunnah of Allah. It's also the guidance of Allah towards that. And the meaning is that if you fear people's opinion, you actually do something that is wrong, because people always doesn't want to follow the right path. If I do this, people will complain. If I do this, people will insult me. If I don't do this, I will have problem with people. No, that shouldn't be your concern. Your concern should be what? What is Allah's guidance? What is Prophet's instruction on this? That should be what matters most for you. And wallahi, if Allah is with you, Allah, all the good forces of Allah will be with you, will be for you. And if Allah is against you, nobody can save you. Nobody can protect you. Where we have actually digressed is that why majority of people fall into this bidiah of celebration of birthday is because of the what? Because of what is happening in our society. Because that is what majority of people do. So people want to do it because other people do it. And people did not even stop a celebration of the day of birth. Some even go to the extent of celebration of the day of what? Death. This is how Shaitan has misled some people. So when somebody died, especially if it's an elderly person, they will still celebrate that date. They will invite people to come and eat that, thank God, we have lost somebody. Is that not the meaning? That's the meaning when you are celebrating. Of course, you can do sadaqah, and you have the intention that the reward of that sadaqah should go forward to what? To that disease. But not to throw a party. But not to what? To create an event. Or not to create unnecessary what? Events. It is never sunnah of the Prophet. It is one of the bidiah that is created by shaitan. Where we have actually gone is that one of the greatest bidiah of this our generation is celebration of the birthday of Prophet Muhammad. So there's no single evidence, no single one that Prophet did it himself. If it were to be something good, Prophet would have done it. And there's no single evidence that the Sahaba, the direct student of prophets, that Allah praised in a number of places in the Quran, there's no single evidence that they did it. The students of the Sahaba, there's no single evidence that they did it. Prophet praised these first three generations in his life, that these are the best set of people that has ever walked on this earth. So if the best set of people did not do it, can that be sunnah? Can that be something good? When there's no even evidence for it in the first place? So of course not. So the first time people started to celebrate a birthday, especially Maulid Nabi, in the history of Islam was during the time of the what? Fatimiyun in Egypt. The Fatimiyun, they were the first to make it the policy of the state. And from then up to today, people are still celebrating it. And like we said, some even attempt to create evidence for it. Some attempt to fabricate evidence. And this is another area where people fall into Bidiah. Another area where people fall into Bidiah is that sometimes they may be doing it innocently. What I mean by innocent is that their intention is, like some people claim that Prophet is a very great personality. Of course, it's very great. He is the greatest human being who has ever walked on this surface. And nobody could ever reach his greatness again. He is praised by Allah. And all the angels, Alam nashrah laka wa wadana anka. What is it? Wa rafa'na laka zikrak. We raise your remembrance. People will be mentioning your name. So, can you imagine the number of times people mention the name of prophets in a day? Except you don't pray. Except you don't call adhan. Except you don't do iqamah. Not only that, doing salat for Prophet Salah is an ibadah. Do you know the number of people that do that on every day? The scholars, they said there are many commands of Allah in the Quran. There are many places Allah commanded us to do an act of ibadah. There is no single place of all the command of Allah that Allah started it, but He is the first to do it, and angels are also doing it. The only act of ibadah that Allah said, Inna Allaha wa malaikatahu yusalluna ala nabi ya ayyuhallazina amanu. So it's the only way you want to do salat for Prophet. And you know another thing? Every ibadah you do, all act of ibadat you don't have certainty that it will be accepted. You cannot beat yourself that this thing I've done, it will be accepted by Allah. You don't have that certainty. But Allah had made doing salat for Prophet Salah, Allah had made it that the moment you do it, it will be accepted. You will get the reward as long as you do what? As long as you do it. So you don't have doubt that it will be accepted. So if this is how great Prophet is, so it means we cannot overemphasize his greatness. But despite that fact, we should not create unnecessary law or the law that is not existing from him or from his student. Like we say, Allah says, وَكَذَلِكَ جَعَلْنَاكُمْ أُمَّةً لِتَكُونُوا شُهَدَاءَ وَيَكُونَ الرَّسُولُ عَلَيْكُمْ. Prophet was a model for the Sahaba. When he was alive, they see him, they follow him. Like Allah said, لَقَدْ كَانَ لَكُمْ فِي رَسُولِ اللَّهِ. So it was a model. And when Prophet was no more, the Sahaba that saw him directly, that learned from him directly, they were the model for people that will come after them. Now, if there is no evidence from those people, how can you prove it that it is sunnah? So you only be creating unnecessary problem. So that is why some scholars they observe that one other area or some other area where people fall into Bidiah is when they want to create evidence for something that does not even exist in the first place. So what will happen here is that what? They will be lying on the prophets. And Prophet, what did he say? He said, Man kadhaba alayya. So you see, sometimes people actually create this lie because they thought or they assume this act of ibadah is a great one, and they want to encourage, like somebody once mentioned that some times ago, that there's a scholar, of course it's a scholar, it's a well-known about his scholarship, and a scholar about this for that matter, and he was addressing people in the masjid, and he was encouraging them in doing many good things, and he want to encourage them on a particular thing, but he observed that they only listen and they get encouraged when you say Prophet said. So you just say Prophet said you should do this when Prophet did not even say it in the first place. So you don't need to lie. You don't need to say what Prophet did not say. Just leave the case the way it is. If you don't know it, there's nothing that does not have evidence either directly from the Quran or from the Hadith. You may not know it, but there's evidence for everything. Allah said there's nothing that He has not discussed directly from the Quran itself, and also the Sunnah of Prophet. And for the speech of Prophet Muhammad, it is also considered as what? As why? So Prophet, whatever he say, as long as it's part of the religion, in the case of religion, it is what? It is Sunnah. So there are some people who believe or who assume that following the Hadith is not necessary. They call themselves Quranic, that we have to limit ourselves to what? Quran. That is it. So they try to give evidence from the Quran that Allah said, after the Quran, which other hadith? So they take that word hadith literally, but that is not what the hadith is saying. So there are many places, more than 50 places, that Allah said you should follow Prophet Muhammad. So if what the verse is saying is not to follow his speech or action, it will have said follow Quran, because there are many other people that say you should follow him. But he said you should follow him because he is the one that received the Quran and is the one that practicalized the law you have in the Quran directly. So what we are saying actually is that people fall into different Bidiah, especially this a particular Bidiah we are trying to do, when they think it is necessary or it is commendable or it is praiseworthy, and from there they try to create evidence for it. And they will create fabricated hadith, like I've said. And fabrication of hadith, wallah, is a very great sin. You don't lie on Allah and you don't lie on Prophet Muhammad. Lying on Prophet and Allah is a very great sin, to the extent that you are going to end up in hellfire on the day of Qiyamah. Even lying on scholars of Islam is very great sin, but it's not as great as lying on Allah and His Messenger. So when you lie that they say what they don't say, so you're actually committing great sin. So, in other words, al-ihtifalu bi mawlid Nabi celebrating the birthday of Prophet is a Bidiah that does not have evidence and that is condemned by Prophet Muhammad himself. So, and not only that of Prophet, even celebrating birthday generally. And sometimes some people deceive themselves. They say they will not celebrate birthday, they will only congratulate themselves on that day. Happy birthday to you. Then you see, the scholar, they said, if there is any other day we are supposed to celebrate apart from the 2H or the day of Juma that Prophet Salah have recommended or mentioned to us, if there is any other day, it should have been the day you wake up in the morning until the evening when you go to your bed, no sin is recorded against you. That day is a day of Eid for you. Another day that will have been a day of Eid for you is the day you die and Allah has forgiven all your sins. And another day that will have been a day of Eid for you, and surely it's going to be a day of Eid, is the day Allah admits you to Jannah. So of all these things we are mentioning, who has certainty, who can beat his chest that today I have not committed sin, or today I'm not going to commit sin, or when I'm going to die, all my sins are going to be forgiven? The meaning is that if you actually understand, like Allah mentioned in Surah Al-Najm, that we're supposed to feel disturbed more than feel happy. What are you happy about? Are you sure your deed has been accepted? Do you know how you are going to end up in this world? Do you know what is going to come after your death? What is your happiness about? Happiness is good. You should be happy. What type of happiness are you talking about? And the truth is that the only thing that can make you happy is following the sunnah we are just talking about. The happiness comes from Allah. The happiness comes from Allah. Nobody can create all those things. It is shaitan that is deceiving you that you are being happy. Wallah, you are not happy. If you are sad inward and you just create artificial thing to make yourself happy, that is not happiness. Because happiness will be seen in your personality. It will be seen in your life. But you are not happy naturally. You say you want to create happiness, then you are celebrating birthday. Celebration of birthday cannot solve your problem. It only adds to your problem. It will create more to your problem. So what we are saying in essence is that celebration of birthday in any form, just to mark that day as a day that this is the day I was born, then I'm going to celebrate it. It does not make any sense. And if you look at it from the linguistic point of view, we still see that it is still faulty. You see, when we say celebration of birth, what? If you say celebration of dates of birth, it's different. But when you say celebration of the day of birth, then you are making a mistake. Because there's a difference between date of birth and day of birth. What prophet was fasting, the type of fasting prophet was fasting was day of birth, not date of birth. Those who are celebrating it, they are celebrating date of birth, and they call it what? Day of birth. Day of birth is the day of the week you are born, isn't it? But the date may be once in a year, isn't it? For prophets, he only fasts on the day. Now, if you want to follow the sunnah, like some people claim that the prophet used to fast, he was asked, why do you fast? He said, because that was the day. Okay, you should be celebrating your birthday every week. Well, people will not call you a bad person. Celebrate your birthday every what? If you are born on Tuesday, you should be celebrating your birthday apart from people calling you, you will get tired. You will not be interested in it. So in short, an anniversary to celebrate something, what do you call it? A day every year, that is an anniversary. And what makes a day to be special, to receive that kind of attention that to be celebrated, is just two things. So if we should ask ourselves that why do we celebrate the day of Eid, whether Eid al-Fitr or Eid al-what? Can we just guess the reason? Eid al-Fitr, it is not. You see, when you fast from the first day up to the last day, we expect that Allah has forgiven all your what? All your sin. So the day that follows it should be a day you thank Allah, you feel happy. That is, they are celebrating the fact that Allah has forgiven your sin. That is the same thing on the day of Eid. Because that day, that first day of Dhul Hijjah, those are the day Allah forgive people more than any other day on the earth surface. This is the day where we have the day of Arafah. This is the day Allah forgive people more. This is the day Allah save people from hellfire more than any other day. So this is the day Allah forgive people. This is the day Allah admit people to Jannah. So this is what makes those days to be special day. Then why not the day Prophet was born? Like we said, it's a very great day. So now, if you want to celebrate any birthday or anything, so it should be a day you are sure that Allah has forgiven your sin. It should be a day you are sure that all your deeds has been accepted by Allah. But who can say that? Who is sure of that? No. So what we are saying in essence is that celebration of birthday is Bidiah. And if you look at it properly, the origin is even Sheikh. The first people who ever celebrated it was what? Roman Empire. And even the Roman Empire, then they are not celebrating their own birthday. They were celebrating the birthday of their gods, their idols. That was why the god that used to be celebrated on 25th day of December, they rename it and they call it Christmas. It was a god that they used to celebrate on that day. So every day of the year, they have a particular god they celebrate. So that is the birthday. Now it has been transferred to us, and we also accept it, hook, line, and sinker, and we continue celebrating our birthday. So little did we know that we are actually practicing shirk, not even what? Sin. So if you actually want good for yourself, if you have been celebrating your birthday before, Allah, you should stop. It does not make any sense. If you sit down and look at the reason, purpose of your creation, and what influence, what impact have you made in life? If you die, will people feel your death? Will people say, Kai, a vacuum has been created by your death, then what are you celebrating? You're supposed to cry more than laugh. Supposed to feel more sad. What influence, what impact do you have in life? How many people are being impacted? How much of religion of Allah have you been able to engage in? Then what are you celebrating? Is that the purpose of creation? You are created to do comedy, to create laugh, to dance. No, that is not the purpose of creation. We are created for a purpose. And wallahi, all these things, all this distraction and preoccupation that Shaitan has used to deceive us, if only we can be patient for Allah, we are going to have them in a perfect manner on the day of Qiyamah. If it is dance you want to dance, you will dance in the Jannah. There is dance in Jannah. But not this type of dance we have on this house office. If your own problem is, what do you call it? What you want to eat? There are food that so the food, they will look similar, but their tastes are different. And from the first day till no end, you will never eat the same food. The taste and the look may look similar, but they are not the same. If your own is women, your problem is woman in this world. You should be patient for Allah. Allah has promised us with urul what? And the urul in, when their beauty is described, you cannot just imagine it. In one description, Prophet, he said, when we are about to enter Jannah, and Allah show us our wives in the Jannah, the urul in, we will wait and be, you know, when you see something that is amazing, you will wonder that, is that a creation of Allah like this? Is this beauty? You will stay there and be assessing that beauty, and you'll be there for 40 years, you not know. Can you imagine that kind of beauty? So one that is a prophet, he said, if one of the Holoim, is to speak, just one of them, all the waters in this ocean, in this planet will become sweet. Can you imagine? So in this world, you can imagine how many foul odor you have perceived, how many stinking odor you have perceived, how many disturbance you have had. So you will not hear anything negative. So if it is a amusement, some people say, I love to go out and enjoy myself, I love to go to amusement park. There is amusement park in Ghana. There are tents there. You and your wives sit, you enjoy yourself. You have good clip. So all these things Allah said, don't do in this world. Because this world is created for a purpose. But Allah is actually going to give you a superior one in Jannah. If your own is alcohol or wine, there is superior wine, but not intoxicating one in Jannah. If your own is chicken, there are superior chicken in Jannah. So any problem you think you have in this world, if your own is that I want to be a king, you will be more than a king in Jannah. So if only you can be patient for Allah and live whatever Allah says you should live, wallahi, what is ahead of us is far better than this one. And if somebody end up in Jannah, in hellfire, just because of this small transient life, wallahi, this dunya is very transient. Let's even assume, you see, our lifespan here is very short. In those days, people live for a long time. Even those people that live for a long time, where are they today? They are no more. If they have done well, it will be good for them. If it is otherwise, they will still be the one to be what? To be accounting for it. Fir'aun, when he was in power, see how he went beyond limits. See how all excesses he committed. Where is he today? You see, in happiness or in regret. If he had listened and followed the prophet of Allah that has been sent to him, then what would have been his case today? Even we today, Shaitan is deceiving us. Allah, if care is not taken, death can take over us anytime. So Shaitan is actually our enemy, like Allah has promised us. Allah says, Inna Shaitan lakum aduwwun fattakhidhuhu. He's an enemy. You should also take him as what? As enemy. So he actually wants you to be one of his what? Followers to the hellfire. So and even celebration of birthday can be a reason for somebody to end up in the hellfire. Somebody may wonder, just celebration of birthday, that's small thing. You see, you seeing as a small thing alone is a problem. You see, the way you have to see yourself in relation to this world and what Allah has to do is that you are under control of your Lord. You are under control of Allah. And you don't have right to do anything except what you have been permitted to do. So imagine you have a child and you are making a law for your child or your household. And they were violating that law. How will you feel? So this is a planet, this is a world that is created by Allah. And He has law for it. He has law for it. So anybody that attempts to go outside that law is actually violating His law. If you think you are not comfortable with the law of Allah, then go and create your own planet and be living there. Or go and look for another God that will give you another space and be living there. Leave the word of Allah. It's for Allah. He created it. Or do you know any other person that created this one apart from Allah? He is the creator, created everything. He has the right to create and the right to make law. You don't make law for yourself. Even in this country, if not our country is the way it is, there are some countries that you don't attempt, you don't dare violate the law of that land. There will be consequences. But here you can do whatever you like. And we are also seeing the consequence. We are seeing the natural consequence. So in short, what we are saying is that there is no evidence for celebration of the birthday. Either our birthday, the way we celebrate it, or the birthday of Prophet. And the sin in celebration of birthday of Prophet is greater than the sin in celebrating your own birthday. Even your own birthday is sinful. You don't do it. And not only you don't do it, you don't congratulate somebody on his birthday that happy birthday to you. So the day you are supposed to say happy to somebody is the day you are sure that Allah has forgiven you. But instead of doing that, you should have prayed for him. So if you want to claim that Prophet used to fast on the day he was born, then you should also be fast on the day you are born. But that has to be every week, not once in a year. Yes or no? Yes. That is the simple analogy. So one other important area where people also fall into the Bidiah is the fact that people take some important personality, so they deify personality, or sometimes places, or sometimes time, or sometimes some effects they leave after their death. So this is another great area people fall into Bidiah. And this is also related to even Prophet Muhammad himself and some of the Sahaba. So what we are saying in essence is that there are some group of Muslims, or people that call themselves Muslim, that also venerate Prophet beyond the level of prophethood. Prophet, like we have described him, is a very great personality. There's no doubt about it. But despite that greatness, you cannot equate him to Allah. You can never equate him to. That was the mistake the Banu Israel made concerning Prophet Isa. He was born miraculously without father. Of course, a great form of that is miraculous. Not only that, he spoke on Kitabu. Not only that, he performed many miracles, as mentioned in Surah Al-Fawzan. So he was a very great personality. And because of that, Shaitan misled them. Initially, they call him son of what? They say he's a son of God, not son of Allah. So later on, from sonship, they transform it to what? Divinity. No, it's no more son. It's now what? God. Say, it is God that come himself. It is Allah. It was Allah that he transformed to woman and come. If you say that, it means you don't even know who Allah is in the first place. Allah does not need anything to do anything he wants to do. Only what he needs is what? Kun. That's all. That's all what Allah needs. You see, this planet, the whole cosmos, the whole universe, as big as it is, Allah says, "Innama amruhu idha arada shay'an." And if you know the size of this universe, and if you know how big it is, you will not even dare violating the law of Allah. You see, this planet, as big as it is the smallest of the creation of Allah. Smallest, when we say smallest. So now, venerating personality beyond their level is actually a great ibadah. And why people do that sometimes is because of the quality Allah has given them. Like Prophet, we have said, is a very great person. So, but that greatness, himself, he said, "La taturuni kama aturatin nasara." So he said, do not venerate me, or do not over-venerate me. The same way Banu Israel over-venerate who? Prophet Isa. Then the other word, do not raise me beyond my level. I am a servant of Allah and his messenger. Of course, that is Prophet Musa. So, and Allah, even Prophet himself, Allah warned him, like, if he to commit shirk, If Prophet is to commit shirk, Allah said, La yabatanna amaluka. Not only that, Allah said, Wala taqawwala alayna ba'dal what? If Prophet is to add to what we have to say, what did Allah say? Allah said, we will have killed him by what? Cutting his ayata. Who is Allah referring to? Who is Allah referring to? Is he not a great personality? So of course he's great. And look at Allah said that you don't mix divinity of Allah with any other creation of Allah. Even an angel, you don't equate angel to Allah. You don't venerate them, or you don't deify them. You don't take them to the level of what divinity. No, they are not equal, and they can never be equal. Apart from Allah, every other thing is created, and they are under the what? They are under the control of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So sometimes people also take places. Sometimes it can be even grave. So like we mentioned that in some of our discussion in the past, that grave of righteous personality, some people have turned into place of worship. Even in this town, even in some other town, we have some such example. This is actually Bidiah. Sometimes the reason why people do that is that the personality who have died is actually a righteous person when he was alive. But now he's dead, they believe that it can be a means of what? It can be a means of getting close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But this is a very great mistake. When somebody is alive, it's under the mercy of Allah. When you die, you are very helpless and powerless. When somebody dies, no matter, apart from Prophet of Allah, no matter how great or righteous you think somebody is in more need of our prayer than we bring to him. When somebody dies, he needs our prayer more than any other thing. So now somebody that cannot help himself, that need our prayer, how can you go to him and be seeking help or assistance from him? Is that logical? Does it make any sense? No. So, and like we have said that, you see, Shaitan is the one that is creating all these problems for us in the world. And when Shaitan wants to create problem, he starts in a way that you don't suspect. Look at the story of Prophet Nuh, people of Prophet Nuh. See the way they started. Even the issue of people worshiping grave, the way it started was that there are some time in the history when somebody dies and he is wealthy or he has some wealth, when they want to bury them or gold, Shaitan make them to, the Shaitan instill in people that they should be burying the gold or some of the wealth together with them, so that they will go to the heaven with their wealth. So Shaitan instill. So people who need the wealth or who need the gold, so after people who have buried them have gone, or in the darkness of the night, they will secretly go there and exhume the dead and what? And steal the property. So later it comes to a point that the people are no more burying the gold or property alongside the deceased. So Shaitan instilled with them that even that person you can use it for money. You can still use it. So they go there and be cutting their hair, cutting their back, and also to do rituals. So now you get to a point that Shaitan said. So instead of using them for what? For money, you can even pray from them. They will answer you, they will listen to you. And this is how gradually Shaitan misled and misguided. May Allah guide us and protect us. So I've been notified that our time is up. Inshallah, we'll stop on this now and continue from the next week. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسوله وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Ask Allah Ta'ala to reward our Ustadh Abdulazeez and forgive our shortcomings. If there's any question from the listeners, one, two, some questions.
Allah Ustadh. The question is that since yesterday we are talking about innovation. So I want to ask one question about the innovation. What the program that is based on was MSSN of Nigeria, the Musawaka. What is the Islamic instant of Musawaka?
As far as I understand, I know it is an innovation. And the reason why I call it innovation is that, like we said, that anything we want to do, there must always be what? Evidence for it. And we cannot find any evidence for it. So there was nothing like that during the time of Prophet, during the time of Sahaba, and during the time of people that come after them. In fact, not only, you see, we talk about Maulid now, isn't it? That I said during the time of the Fatimiyun, that was the Ummah. In fact, the first ever time people will do Musabaqah in the history of Islam was in 1960 something. I cannot remember specifically. That is not even far away from here. Not all. Is that up to 100 years? No. So that is one. Number two is that people say the reason why it has to be done or it is necessary to be done in order to encourage people to memorize Quran, or in order to make our youth to memorize. You see, Quran is one of the greatest form of ibadah. It's one of the what?
Greatest form.
Reciting it alone, reciting it, whether you understand or not, you get rewarded. And the reward is such that when you say Alif 10, Lam 10, Mim, Alif Lam Mim 30, just like that. Imagine how many harf you will read in just one page and see the reward. But for every religious act, for every ibadah, it must be followed by a last word. So now, if you, according to those that claim that the reason why you have to be doing it to encourage, if your intention in reciting Quran, memorizing Quran in the first place is that, hey, Allah, I want to go to Abdul, they will know, they will see, they will understand. Do you think you can still get that reward? Can you still get that reward? So you can't get that reward because the intention has been defeated in the first place. And you cannot dispute that. Because if your reason is because I want to go there, that will be your reason for doing it. But if your reason is I want to worship Allah, then you will do it. And that is even one of the reasons we don't even understand Quran anymore. Yes. Because if your intention is because you want to participate in competition, then you see your state of mind when you want to learn anything whatsoever, it will determine the way you understand it, and it will determine the way you will apply it. The state of mind with which you learn anything. Now, if the state of mind is this, he will rush to learn it, to memorize it. After he memorizes it, he will also focus on that. But that was never the way the Sahaba learned Quran. That was never the way the students of the Sahaba learned Quran. During the time of Prophet Sallallahu, the Sahaba, they said they will learn 10 verses. And these 10 verses, they will read, they will understand, they will apply, they will not go back to learn another 10 verses until this is put into practice and understood, where their meaning is very, very much understood. This is the way they memorize Quran. Abdullah ibn Umar, he used 8 years to memorize Surah Al-Baqarah. Surah Al-Baqarah, not the whole Quran. Umar ibn Khattab himself, he used 13 years. You and Umar, who have more sense, who have more brain. Abdullah ibn Umar, who have more brain. Why do they have to use that number of years? Just Surah Al-Baqarah. Because they have to understand it. Because they have to apply it. Because they want to worship Allah. Because it is for ibadah. It's not for show. It's not for competition. That's one thing. Another thing, another area where it is faulty is that you are a Muslim, I am a Muslim. You want to go for this, I want to go for this. Will you wish that this person win? It is haram in Islam. You don't. A prophet said, La yuminu ahadukum. So if you want to win, you also wish that the other brother win. So the moment you say, I will be the winner, it means you don't want the other person to win. And if care is not taken, it can lead to what? Hazard. And hazard is very dangerous. Of course it can happen. How many iman, how many taqwa do we have that this will not even happen? So we started to envy somebody, not because of that, but because you don't want him to defeat you. Or if he defeated you when you see him, you don't like him, you hate him. We created that sin in the first place. We created the problem in the first place. In fact, there are many ways in which we can prove that, apart from the fact that we don't have evidence from it. If you know it is ibadah, if you know it is something you must do, if you know it is something that when you do, you will get reward, will you do it until when you are told? On the day of Qiyamah, the messenger is saying, Inna qawmi ittakhadhu hadha al-Quran. They have abandoned it. And according to the scholar, they said the abandonment of the Quran does not literally mean even not to memorize it. They mention about 6 or 7 ways you can. Even when you memorize, you don't understand, you have abandoned it. Because Quran is meant for tadabbur. And tadabbur means reflecting on the meaning. How can you reflect on something you don't understand? So you understand English, you don't understand, except English. I am speaking French to you. Will you be making any sense? When you are reciting something you don't even understand in the first place, Would there be anything? So you will not even feel anything. And that was one of the faults of the Banu Israel. Let's say about أَنْ لَكُمْ وَقَدْ كَانَ فَرِيقٌ ثم what? من بعد ما أقلوه. Where I'm going there, وَمِنْهُمْ أُمِّيُّونَ لَا يَعْلَمُونَ الْكِتَابَ إِلَّا أَمَانِيَّ وَإِنْهُمْ إِلَّا يَظُنُّونَ. That's where I'm going. So they only know how to recite, but they don't have an idea of what the meaning is all about. So this is one of the danger. So what we should have done, instead of using this way to encourage people, what we should have done is to make people to understand the importance, the necessity. People say, me in Nabucco, I sabi, I don't sabi Quran. When you die in the grave, you will see the danger of you not sabi Quran. So see the effort, see the energy we are putting in getting this word. Some people will travel thousands of kilometers to this place in order to learn to get certificate, but did not see any relevant importance to learn Quran. I think there's no problem. There's no problem. There's big problem. Some people will spend thousands of naira. They will spend sleepless nights in order to understand something that's not even related to religion. And they think it is necessary to be done. But for Quran, the thing is not compulsory. Allah, there's going to be a problem with it. Okay. How will Allah, if you even understand what we are saying in the first place, how can Allah send a book to you and you not care about it? It means you don't even respect Allah in the first place. If you respect Allah, you will respect His book. In fact, some scholars said, if Allah loves you and He wants to talk to you, Allah will endear you to Quran or endear Quran to you. But that is where His speech is. But if Allah even doesn't even want to talk to you, or He doesn't want to even you to be talked to, then you will not even have time for Quran. That's our position in this world today. So I think we should rather encourage and allow people to understand the message of Quran and the importance, and teach them the Sunnah, the way the Sahaba and Prophet has taught the Sahaba. We don't have any other way, just more than the way of Sahaba. Like we said, no evidence for it in the. So sometimes some people will say, one Sahaba give a gift to his child because he recited Quran. You can give a gift to somebody and it's a child. You see, the case of a child is different from elderly people. You see, when a child, like we mentioned that the Sahaba used to memorize 10 verses. So if it is a child, that child doesn't need to memorize 10 verses. You can assign that child with a whole lot of memorization. Because even if you're teaching the understanding, he will not understand the other age. So what he needs most at that time is to memorize, to put them in the brain. But somebody who have already grown up, you need understanding more than what? Memorization. But when you are a child, you need memorization. That is the time when your brain is just like a what? Like the Prophet said, Al-ilmu fil sigar connects with what? Fil hajar. So it's just like when you are making a sculpture on a rock, it is very difficult to be removed. So when you are teaching a child knowledge, when he is very young, there's nothing disturbing his brain, there's no pollution, nothing has polluted his brain. So that knowledge will stay there. So just be putting it there, let them be memorizing it. And that was the sunnah of even our predecessors. If you look at all our predecessors, it is we that will get late to memorize Quran. Those days, you see a child of 5 years, 6 years, 8 years, 10 years, they are memorizing Quran. Imam Suyuti, he has not only memorized Quran, even read and memorized most of the Kutub of Hadith at the age of 15. In fact, he has started author book at the age of 15. And these are most of the Quran. Imam Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani. So, but for us at this age, even Quran we are struggling. Let alone Hadith. And we think the only way out is to work to engage in competition. This is not true actually. And you cannot have that mindset that that's want to still be a scholar. It's not possible. Now.
That's in relation to question. Then how can we relate the competition with our al-bir taqwa wa la ta'awun ala al-ithmi wal udwan?
There is two different things actually. You see that verse you are referring to in Surah Al-Ma'idah. There is the fact that comes before it. If you want to read it in context, it was talking about Allah saying, "Wala yajrimannakum sha'anu qawmin ala alla idilu." So now, when somebody somebody is your enemy. You know, as human being, you may want to violate his rights because he's your enemy. We have that tendency. I hate you, you violate my law, you do something wrong. When you have a right from me, I may deny you just because of that feeling I have. Is that not so? Every woman may have that feeling. But Quran said no. So now Allah said, وَتَعَوَنُوا عَلَى الْبِرِّ. So when somebody wants to do good, you should encourage him, assist him, let him do it. وَلَا تَعَوَنُوا عَلَى الْوَاتِ. Somebody want to violate people's law or people's rights or want to do something, you should. That is the context. But if we want to apply it, because many of the Quran should not be limited to even the context, you have general applicability. It will only be relevant if there is a precedent for it. What we are talking about now, who did Allah reveal Quran to? Who was the first student? What about the student that followed them? So you mean they are not wise to have chosen that way of doing it since that day? And if they are not doing it, they are not doing taqwa? Is that what you are saying? No, you don't bring evidence. That is al-qiyas what? So this is the way I see it. You understand? Of course, ta'awun al-bir wa taqwa is valid in Islam, but not on what does not have evidence. We said we have to do things according. Quran reciting is a very great form of ibadah. When I say ibadah, great one for that matter. So now, what makes something to be ibadah, like we mentioned yesterday, is your intention. So now, if your intention is that you want to go somewhere to recite Quran, that will affect your intention, it will affect the ibadah of the Quran, and it will affect your reward. If you want to do ibadah, look at our scholars. How many of them can you point to? In fact, don't let us even go there. Can you mention one great scholar, even in this our time, that this is his own way. This is how he actually gets encouraged. I'm talking of great scholar, not local scholar. So can you imagine? You see, when you create time for Quran and Hadith, you don't have time for every other thing. They will call your companion, and you give them enough time and energy, and you receive the resources they need. This is the way the scholars of those days, this is the way they live. Not that you have to tell them before they will now be encouraged, or you have to tell them because they have to win competition, then they have to do that. So we are no more doing it for Allah. If you are doing it for Allah, you only need to be told the importance, and your intention will be for Allah and Allah alone. Now.
So my question is that, like, those people who are doing winter, like they used to call that. So as soon as
they used to.
Those that used to do Qaida to Baghdadi, something like that. So, and someone come and meet me, okay, help me do, I want to do my mood. So let me do my poster, can I do it one?
So this your fast is applicable here. The fast is quoted is applicable here. What you want to do? You see a bill or ism?
Like my...
No, not you. What the person wants to do. You see a bill or ism?
Bidiah.
Is Bidiah good or bad? It's bad, go? Yeah. So now, if you do it, are you doing ta'awunu ala al-birri wa taqwa or ta'awunu ala al-ismi wal udwan? Answer now. Are you assisting people in doing birru and taqwa, or you are assisting them in doing ismi?
The case that if I told them,
if you do what?
Like if I told him, I someone this is not good. You go to do another place.
That is not your problem. You don't have problem with that. Okay, because you don't want it to go to somewhere, so you have to do it. Is that an argument? No. See, in wama aleka illa what? Your own responsibility is to be sure that you are doing the right thing, and also to tell people whether they take it or they don't take it. It's none of your business. When we say it's none of your business, it does not mean you should be happy. But you should not, because you don't want people to sin and you also fall into sin. That would not be logical. You understand? So, إِنَّكَ لَا تَهْدِي مَنْ أَحْبَبْتَ وَلَكِنَّ اللَّهَ. So it is Allah that guide. It is not you. No matter the method you use, it will not guide. It's only if Allah wants to guide. So you should just do what is the right and leave the rest to Allah. But you will tell the person. You understand? And you should not fear what the person will say. You should only fear what Allah will say. If you have not reached that level, if you have not reached the level that I will do what I think it is right, if you are always doing behaving or acting according to people's opinion, then you are not a complete human being. You are not a complete. A complete human being will think independently and act independently. When I say independently, you do correct things based on what you understand, not based on what people will say. Yes, you have to be independent. That is how you are created. You are born alone, you will die alone, you will be buried alone, you will be resurrected alone, and you will be judged alone. Then? No, you may have to think along people sometimes, or you may have to get idea from people. But what I'm saying is that you should not allow people's influence to mislead you, or to misguide you, or to make you to take wrong decision. No. Sometimes you may have to get people's opinions sometimes. When we say you should not be working people, that does not mean you don't need people's opinion. Sometimes you may need to get people's view, opinion, perspective. But you put it in your brain. Is it correct? Is it right? Am I supposed to follow it? If no, then I will follow what I think it is right. Now.
Inshallah, stop here for today and continue next week in Islam. We ask Allah to forgive every one of us for our mistakes, and we ask Allah to grant us blessing and mercy this world and thereafter, and ease our face. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.